If you have been following this channel, you already know I'm on a journey, not just about reading books, but trying to live them. I'm Nikhil, and I welcome you back to my YouTube channel. Today, we are talking about a book that feels less like a novel and more like a mirror. That book is The Alchemist. Now, this is not a heavy philosophical text. It's simple, almost deceptively simple. A shepherd boy named Santiago travels from Spain to Egypt in search of a treasure that he saw in a dream. That's it. That's the whole plot. But somehow, in that small story, the writer manages to talk about destiny, fear, love, faith, risk, doubt, God, purpose, and the quiet voice inside us that we spend most of our lives ignoring. The first time I read this book, I thought, well, it's a nice story. The second time, the same story hit differently. It's one of those books that grows as you grow. So today, I want to break down 10 main ideas from this book. And more importantly, how we can apply them in our daily lives. Idea number 1. The concept of a personal legend. The writer introduces this idea that every person has a personal legend, a calling, something that they are meant to pursue. But most people give up on it, not because they can't achieve it, but because they are afraid. The book suggests that your dream exists for a reason. It's not random. Idea number 2. Fear is bigger than the obstacle. Santiago faces deserts, thieves, uncertainty. But what stops most people is not the desert. It's the fear of crossing the desert. The writer says something very powerful. The fear of suffering is far worse than the suffering itself. And that's painfully accurate. Idea number 3. When you want something, the universe conspires. This is probably the most quoted line from the book. But I don't think it means magic. It means alignment. When you truly commit, your perception sharpens. You notice opportunities. You act differently. You become receptive. The conspiracy is partially internal. Idea number 4. Comfort is the enemy of calling. Santiago could have stayed a shepherd, safe, predictable, familiar. Most of us choose the shepherd life, even when we hear the whispers of something bigger. Comfort feels like security, but often it's disguised stagnation. Idea number 5. The importance of listening to your heart. Throughout the journey, Santiago learns to listen to his heart. Not emotions, not impulses, but that quiet inner compass. We often drown that voice in noise, social media, opinions, expectations, but it never really stops speaking. Idea number 6. Omens and awareness. The book talks about omens. Now, whether you believe in a sign or not, here's what I took from it. Life constantly gives feedback, patterns, opportunities, repeated nudges. But only the attentive people notice them. Awareness is a skill. Idea number 7. Love should not stop you from your purpose. Santiago falls in love and he thinks, maybe that's enough. But he learns something crucial. True love doesn't cage you. It doesn't demand you to shrink your destiny. It supports your growth. Anything that forces you to abandon your calling is not love. That's just attachment. Idea number 8. The journey transforms you more than the treasure. Now, this is a spoiler without spoiling anything. The treasure matters less than who Santiago becomes. Courageous, present, trusting, and awake. Sometimes, the goal is not the goal, it's the transformation required to reach it. Idea number 9. You must pay the price. Every step forward requires sacrifice. Time, comfort, certainty. There is no growth without the cost. The book doesn't romanticize the journey. Santiago gets robbed, he struggles, he doubts, but he keeps going. Idea number 10. The treasure is closer than you think. Here's the irony. What we seek outside is often connected to something within. The external journey mirrors an internal one. Sometimes we travel miles to discover what was buried near our own beginning. Now, let's bring this home. Because reading beautifully written lines is very easy. Living them is not so much. Here's how I think we can incorporate this book into our daily lives. First, define your personal legend. Not in dramatic terms, just ask, what feels meaningful to me? What keeps returning to my thoughts? Second, take small risks. You don't need to cross a desert tomorrow, but maybe you send that email, you start that side project, speak honestly, wake up earlier. Small courage compounds. Third, reduce the noise. If listening to your heart is important, you need silence. Less scrolling, more reflection. Fourth, reframe the fear. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask yourself, what if staying here costs me more? Fifth, detach from the outcomes. Focus on becoming the kind of a person who can handle the treasure. Discipline, clarity, faith in action. Sixth, examine your relationships. Do they support your growth? Or do they reward your stagnation? Seventh, treat setbacks as a part of a path. Santiago didn't interpret being robbed as a sign to quit. He adapted. That's maturity. And finally, understand that the purpose is not a one-time discovery. It's a continuous listening process. Your personal legend evolves as you evolve. If there is one thing this book reminds me, it's this. Your life is not meant to be accidental. You are not here to merely survive the routines. There is something uniquely yours to pursue. Not because it guarantees you fame or wealth, but because the pursuit itself makes you alive. The Alchemist is not about treasure. It's about trust. Trust in the process, trust in the growth, trust in your inner voice. And maybe the real question is not whether the universe conspires in your favor. Maybe the real question is, are you willing to conspire with yourself? If you have read this book, let me know what it meant to you. And if you have not read this book yet, I will genuinely recommend this book for you. Because sometimes a small story carries a large truth. And sometimes the desert you are afraid of crossing is the very place you will find yourself. And with that, me Nikhil, signing off. We will meet again soon with another book, another quiet conversation, and another cup of coffee. Until then, take care. Share this video with a fellow reader and keep turning the page. Thank you.